Hello and welcome. This is Best Foot Forward Shoes, the podcast. This is episode 3. Last episode we were international. This episode we are interstate. Today we have a very special guest, Emmanuel Guevarra. Let me get him up on screen here. There we are. How are you doing, mate? Thank you for joining us all the way from New South Wales and Sydney. Where are you from in Australia?
Yeah, so I'm in Sydney, based in Western Sydney. So G'd up to be part of this. So very excited.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's something that I don't see a huge amount of like sneaker discussion in Australia besides Facebook groups. So I wanted to kind of bring you on and kind of chat about obviously the sneakers that are behind you. You have obviously a fair collection. Those of us that have seen you on the Sneaker Facebook Australia page, posting a lot about your journey with like posting a Saucony every day. You're a school teacher, so perhaps we'll get into that a little bit. So first of all, just want to talk about some of the news that's been happening. So I'm going to pop up a photo of one of the hottest releases that has come up in the last couple of weeks, which was the Emmanuel 4s, the Fossil, a follow-up to the previous 4s that were possibly the sneaker of the year in, I believe it was 2022 when they released. It was the basically all burgundy color. And it's also, this is a part of their While You Were Sleeping pack, which was 10 shoes that they debuted about 2 months ago with a Jordan 3, which to me didn't have a huge release, but a lot of people were still loving those. I did not myself pick those up. I was saving myself for another couple of shoes. But yeah, what was your thoughts basically on this release?
I love the pack. I love the look of the pack. Hey, like for me, I really wanted to get my hands on the 3, the 4, and the Air Force Ones. And I'm loving the look of the 4 more so than the OG. I really like the color blocking on this current one. So I was lucky enough to win a pair from Emmanuel, but just waiting. Hey, it's just a waiting game.
Oh, you're waiting, yeah. Right.
Yeah, sending it over and that, and payment's been taken, so it's just a waiting game now. So I'm hoping nothing gets cancelled and we do get it. But I was lucky to get the 3 as well. So very, very lucky. So thanks to Sammy from the Sneakerheads Facebook group for assisting me with that one.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, really love the pack. The pack's great. Like I'm a big fan of the color blocking itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really loving the look of the 4s from this release than the OGs.
I will. Yeah, I'm debating. I'm looking at the resale prices, and I'm definitely like probably going to get one pretty soon because there's a fair few like good prices I've seen, and it's interesting as to why this has happened to Emmanuel. It's kind of. Do you think that the controversy that surrounded James Whitner, kind of with his backdooring, perhaps, has kind of hindered these releases, or have they is it just where the game is right now, where people aren't reselling for thousands and thousands?
I think for a lot of the collectors, it's kind of part of the culture now. Hey, so it's kind of just like, so it's a backdooring and whatnot, but I'm still going to try and cop, right?
Yeah.
But I do get that there are some people out there in the fan base to be just like, I don't want to touch that, or just kind of support that essence of whatever's going on in that space. But it just seems like for this release, there were a lot more units available.
Right.
Especially via the website, right? Especially via the Emmanuel site.
Yeah.
And resale for the 4s, it's almost on par with what we paid for the price that Emmanuel was putting up. So yeah, it's very, very close.
It was like 330 Australian, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I always have to, basically being in Australia, I always have to like round up an extra 150 or so to whatever they say it's going to be on whatever American website. I've always got to kind of add that extra tax, obviously, for the currency. I think that the 97 of this pack, the MX 97, I'm not sure if you've seen that one, is probably my favorite. That would be when that does release, which I'm not sure the release date, but that will be an instant get for me. Like I'm definitely going to be.
I'm hoping that gets released here. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's a bit of a guessing game. Sometimes we can be guaranteed certain things, and sometimes we can't. So I guess that kind of speaks to what Australia get and what they don't. I don't think there's a good chance that we'll get those. I think because we've got these first 2, the 3 and the 4, the 97 might just be like a certain sneaker boutique and Emmanuel exclusive.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but I think I still like the colors. The colors are great. The boxes is amazing. Like that's a crazy kind of. I love
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Like I love a really good like unique kind of box. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next one I basically want to cover is also a very hot one, which was the Travis Scott medium olive. Now,
Mm.
my take, which might be a bit unpopular, is that I wasn't a huge fan of this one. It felt like a rehash of like the olive colorway, and again, it was incredibly hard to get. A lot of people I saw, I don't know if you know who Sneakonomics is. He has a YouTube page. He posted a photo. He had 7 raffles, and he failed all of them. So
Mm.
if people like that who are trying on every raffle can't get one, what's really the hope for anyone at all?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about this
Look, mate,
release?
I had 8 entries. Hey, all
Yeah,
L's.
yeah,
So I like the color, and I'm not. I'll put out there like disclaimer. I'm not a Travis Scott fan, but I just
mm,
love some of the shoes that has been released, especially the Jordan 1 lows, because
yeah,
it's a little bit more, I guess, palatable for me when I go to work, right? So it's a little bit more subtle in a sense.
yeah,
And it's easier to wear for work in a sense. But yeah, I like the color, but at the same time, I wasn't chasing that. I wasn't chasing that hard, but trying to cop to see if I can assist somebody else, right? So if I didn't get it, I didn't get it. If I did, awesome.
I think I was in two. I did the like on the day Nike one and supply
Yeah,
store and supply
yeah,
store. So I definitely like didn't try it that hard.
yeah.
If it would have been a nice to get, but it didn't crush me that I didn't get it.
Mm.
Do you feel like this is one of the last Travis Scott Jordan ones we're going to get, or at least one of the last good ones? Because some of the colorways that we've seen, we saw like the pink one, pink and
Yeah,
white, that got cancelled, and then
yeah,
there's definitely confirmed like an all brown color.
yeah. That all brown one looks so good.
Like, is that going to be like the pinnacle, like the peak, or do you feel like they're going to try and experiment a bit more with like the canary yellows, that
Yeah,
came out earlier in the year? Are they going to go that route, or are they going to go stay down
yeah.
this olive neutral
Look,
tones?
like who knows with Nike? Hey, like because sometimes when you've got like such a popular silhouette, all of a sudden they just stop making it, right? Especially with the Travis Scotts. I mean, there's like obviously popularity and there's a fan base on it as well. And I'm hoping there's more colorways. I'm
Yeah,
hoping that they do experiment a little bit more.
yeah,
But it is starting to saturate the market as well. So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so one side of that is that resale will drop, and the other side is just for a lot of people, they don't want to be wearing the same shoes as everybody else in a sense as well. So you don't want to see that flooding the streets too. But I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Whatever Nike puts out there, I'm going to try and grab whatever I like. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Next up, we have one of my favorite rappers and one of my favorite creators that is upcoming. I think we can still call him upcoming, even though he had a very awesome release, is Amine with this shoe coming out. This is a 740
Mm,
silhouette, which is one of the ones that not many people have actually seen, and a lot of people probably wouldn't even realize that it like was a retro runner that New Balance have. But this color's like, I've put it full screen there. That color is amazing. The bright blues, the bright oranges, it kind of goes with the same pattern leather that he had with the 610.
mm.
The yellow and brown colorway. I didn't get that one. What were your thoughts on that release last year, and then also this upcoming colorway and silhouette?
I mean, I like this one coming up,
Mm-hmm.
just the blues and the orange and the hits of the iridescent kind of like hits on the
Mm-hmm.
side there.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the actual silhouette itself, it's not one that I would usually go for.
Mm.
And at the same time, like for me, like it's pretty out there. I
Yeah.
know this is me saying that, and I've got like some J Tips collabs, right?
Yeah.
So, but I just feel like the color itself doesn't speak to me as
Mm.
much. I don't mind it. Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's something that you have to weigh, is like it looks really awesome like as an art piece like by itself,
yeah,
but then trying to wear it on feet, that's kind of a whole nother story. And it's
yeah,
like, in reality, practically, what can you actually wear? First of all, I don't want to get them super dirty because they look so good. Like, if you tried to wear these every day, you're probably going to get them dirty, and that's, I don't know. Like, obviously, we want to be wearing our shoes, but like, and promoting that. But I would just feel bad if I ever got these dirty. And I don't know, like, and then the retail price is probably going to be up in the 300s for these,
Yeah,
or
sure.
and resale would be insane. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I
um,
feel like, for yourself, like you being a fan of the person that's actually designing and all that sort of stuff, it speaks a lot of volume too. So, if you get a pair, by all means, you're thinking about whether you're going to wear it or put it out there and just display it and whatnot. So, yeah.
it's pretty exciting that like people like Action Bronson and people like Amine can come to New Balance and do these kind of awesome looking collabs and kind of push the boundaries. Backpacking off what we just said about Travis Scott, and he's
Mm.
probably the opposite, where he kind of has some, lesser colorways, like lesser loud colorways. Like
Yeah.
they still look good and they're, good quality, but they've given New Balance the license to be able to go to these artists and be like, give us your crazy,
Yeah.
give us
Yeah.
your awesome crazy stuff. Like, um, what are your thoughts about how New Balance is kind of contradicting what Nike's doing in terms of their collaborations and how loud it is?
Yeah. I think New Balance the last few years or so when they brought on Teddy Santis and
Mm-hmm.
doing all of just revamping, I guess, a lot of their sneakers and their silhouettes and really changing that image of the dad shoe, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And really making it more, I guess you can call it mainstream in a sense, where yeah, you're trying to aim for your collectors and your everyday people in a sense, and finding that middle ground between it to create a shoe for everybody else. I love what they're doing. I love what New Balance is doing, and I think with Nike itself, like Nike's just going with that whole brand, right? The brand itself, and the how powerful, how strong that brand has been for decades. And we know New Balance has its place at the moment. I feel like New Balance in the next couple of years will tend to slow down, just like with Asics.
yeah,
But Nike is just at the moment they're just cruising, and then they'll figure out a way, just like how do we bring
mm,
everybody back, and
yeah.
then they'll go again. So yeah.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue. How are they going to bring people back? They've brought on Nego, who
Yeah.
is Bape. If
Yeah.
no one knows who he is, he's kind of the founder of Bape, and he's kind of been brought on to do an Air Force 3, which if
Mm.
I can grab that picture, like that's Nego right there. He is, he's had a long history with Nike. Bape
Yeah.
has, been in the courts, literally being sued by Nike, and now he's coming in to do this awesome kind of colorful white with some blues and reds and yellows. It's kind of like a primary color scheme on this Air Force 3. He's
Yeah.
also got another kind of brown colorway, but what are your thoughts with Nike trying to bring a different collaborator that they were previously beefing with on
Yeah.
to do an actual shoe?
Yeah. No, I found that really like odd, to be honest, because a lot of their designs, like with the Bapesters and all that sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah,
And that's the reason why they're kind of that controversy is happening. But bringing him on, and you've got a whole heap of fan base as well with Bape and whatnot, and putting it on the Air Force 3, and I'm just assuming that Nike's using to try and push that silhouette and starting off with this collaboration. The colors are great. There's the lighter one and there's the darker one, right?
yeah,
There's one with the black base.
mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I was more interested in the actual promo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The animation and all that sorts of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Because that speaks my like 80s kind of
mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of the kid in me, I should say. Yeah.
Just from a purely looks perspective, it's probably not one that I'm going to try and get, just purely because of the silhouette. I have a slightly longer frame. I'm like quite tall and have longer legs, and the Air Force Ones and Air Force 3 are just not my speed. So it probably won't be one, even if it does come to Australia, I won't be trying to pick up. But
Mm.
it's definitely interesting to see, yeah, Nike trying to bring someone on, trying to, what's the saying, keep your enemies closer, friends
Yeah.
close, enemies closer. So
Yeah.
they're kind of trying to follow that strategy. So next up, continuing on with Nike, we've also got Jason Tatum. So I'm not sure how much of a basketball fan you are, but I definitely am a huge basketball fan. The Celtics are not my favorite team. So Jason Tatum, for anyone who doesn't know, is a basketball player for the current NBA champion Boston Celtics. And as you can see on screen, you have a pack that he is releasing with Jordan Brand on his third silhouette in conjunction with a very, very nice Jordan 1 as well. So, you got the green, you got those floral hits, you got that cream off-white color. if these Jordan ones come to Australia, I am definitely getting that because that is right up my alley, and that is right up my like green color scheme. The threes are really nice as well. So, give me your thoughts on what you think A about Jason Tatum if you have any, because I'd love to hear them, and then B about this pack and whether or not they'll release separately.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I played basketball most of my life, and it's only been the last 3 years since I've like actually stopped playing competition, just because with work and being able to get to games and also having 2 kids. So I stopped actually investing in performance basketball shoes. So with the Tatums, like I love the look of these ones, and I believe that these ones are coming out in like I think 2 or 3 other colorways, and there's a Zen one which is like a
Yeah,
black and grayish one. That yeah, I saw those and it piqued my interest.
yeah,
Um, in terms of the player, look, he is what he he is what he is.
yeah.
I just feel like for me, anyways, and I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of fans angry here, but I don't know. I just feel like he's a little bit overrated in terms of who he is as a player. Is
Yeah,
that a
no, no. I'm just like, yeah, that is going to get people angry. Like, I
yeah, right?
can think of five
Um,
friends that would probably want to highly disagree with that, but I'm not disagreeing. I'm staying neutrals, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
I like where you're going.
yeah. I just feel like with him, like, yeah, great player, right?
Hmm.
Great player, and he looks great with the bunch of people that he's playing with,
Yeah,
right? I'm not saying that he's a B grade player. I think he's still definitely an all star.
yeah,
Um, but for me, I mean, it's like I just felt like it's taken him that long to actually like um, finally get to the point where everyone's been wanting him to be at, right?
yeah, yeah,
Consistency,
yeah,
like he's improving.
yeah,
But that's just my take. Like I
okay,
just feel like when I watch him, awesome, right?
yeah,
But I just feel like he's a little bit overrated in terms of who he is as a player.
yeah,
Plenty of better players out there.
yeah,
Again, my opinion, but yeah,
yeah. I feel so I'm like a Miami Heat fan, so I mean a lot of people had I feel like he's got a similar sort of trajectory, not quite on the same level, but same sort of trajectory as like Dwayne Wade, where he starts comes out really hot, like
yeah,
he's still a semi young player and he's had success in his young career.
yeah,
And so a lot of people called Dwayne Wade overrated. You know,
yeah,
he debuted in '03, came in, won a championship in '06, and when everyone was like, well, he's just a flash in the pan. So um, I think that Tatum kind of has obviously a very different game style. I'm just
yeah,
talking about his career trajectory.
yeah,
And I think that the Celtics are, obviously a great team. Trying not to go too far down that route of like we could talk ball all day.
yeah,
But I think that him having a shoe like this and this kind of work going into it is pretty cool. You know,
yeah,
it's got the TD Garden, which is their home ground.
yeah,
It's got that kind of it's called Welcome to the Garden. So
yeah,
it has that floral theme. It's really nice. Like it's his third shoe. I think the performance basketball shoes are definitely coming back up. I don't know if the Anthony Edwards ones have kind of brought that to
mm,
people's forefront of their minds a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, just quickly, what are your thoughts about those, like the AE one and how that's kind of made, you got the jar ones, you've got Zion Williamson's shoe, like all of that. Is that coming back a little bit
I,
more?
I think I think the hardest thing is that it's very difficult to wear a performance basketball shoe
Yeah,
casually,
yeah,
right? But if you're thinking about like in the 90s and the late 90s, early 2000s,
mm,
it was very easy to do that because a lot of the shoes were very much had that retro, that vibe on it, right? But now because it's futuristic look, it's just so hard. Like I don't know how you're gonna like the Anthony Edwards look amazing,
yeah,
but in terms of just like I don't know if you're gonna. Me personally, I wouldn't wear it out, right?
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it has its place. Yeah, but it's just different to how performance basketball shoes were made in
yeah.
the past because of the looks, right? The looks.
Yeah, it's the look. Yeah, it looks. I mean, they also fit a little bit tight, usually just because of the purely athletic nature that you have
Mm.
to. You're wanting to stay completely locked into the shoe, and sometimes you want a little bit of wiggle room when you're just going
Yeah,
for a casual walk. So, and oftentimes they're meant for gripping on the court. So trying to wear them, outside would be a little bit tough. I think that's why they've added the Jordan 1 in there as a
yeah,
lifestyle section to this pack. So
yeah,
I think it's really good. I think it looks really great. I think the colors and the boxes and it's yet to know. We're not yet to know when they're going to release and if they'll release in Australia. So that's kind of, news that's kind of up in the air. So we're going to go into some of the upcoming releases and a couple of releases that have already happened around the world, but there are still some places where it is going to release. First of all, we're talking about the ASAP Rocky Inhale pack that comes from Puma. So ASAP Rocky, if you didn't know, is a rapper, a designer. Kind of, I think that he and Travis Scott were kind of on the same level for a fair while there, but obviously they've gone in very kind of different paths. In my opinion, Travis Scott is kind of the mega global superstar, and ASAP Rocky is still incredibly big, but his shoe, which is getting released with Puma, and then Travis Scott has Nike, so it's kind of one of two, and they're kind of a little bit different. I do like this shoe. You've got the kind of white and dirty colorway, and then you've got a more black color. What are your thoughts on these two, and if you would get any of these?
I think for me, like with the pack itself, that lighter color does appeal to me a little bit more. But again, for me, like my style, it just doesn't pique my interest. But
yeah,
I like what the materials that's on it. It looks like it's, I don't know, is that it looks like pony hair? I could be wrong.
There is a little bit. I think there are definitely different textures on it. It's dirty. Let's just say that. It's supposed to look like that. What are your thoughts about that? Pre-aging, let's call it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing, right? I think that's trending at the moment, the whole age look on sneakers and aging sneakers as straight out of the box in a sense. But you know what? There's definitely a fan base for it, and I'm sure we'll see some Pumas out there.
I mean, I've got a couple pair of Puma like Palemos. Like I've done some reviews on those, and I definitely rate them. Like it's all about spreading your wings and kind of you don't want to stick to just Nike or Jordans. You want to stick to you don't want to stick to those, and you want to go into different spaces and try different things. And I mean, it's awesome that more collaborators are going with different brands. Like we'll touch on a little bit later with Saucony and J-Tips and all that. So it's definitely awesome to see brands pushing the boundaries and trying to explore different artists. So our next one that we're going to chat about is the Basement and New Balance collaboration on the 1906 in two different colors. You've got a silver color, as you can see on screen. You've got a silver and black color. So, I mean, these are pretty wild, pretty crazy. It's, I mean, the 1906 is probably the New Balance's sneaker of the year. I'm yet to decide which one out of all of their releases that I like the most. But this one is definitely eye-catching, and I would love to know what you think about these ones.
Look, the Y2K runners, right? And the mesh runners, they've been making headway the past couple of years. For me, I like a little bit more of the subtle like tones of color and materials like suede. The whole silver thing for me, it's too much for me personally. But I see where they're going because that's the trend at the moment, right? So they look pretty cool. I like that they're kind of just the black and the white.
Black and white and silver. It's definitely like, it's kind of, I feel like it's a launching pad for your outfit in terms of like people will look and they'll be like, whoa, those shoes are cool, but they kind of can complement anything you put in onto them. Like you could be wearing a blue shirt and they would go with this. You could almost wear anything because of the neutral colors, although it's still very shiny and loud. So it's kind of got a foot in both camps where it's bold, but it's also a little bit neutral. So I really like it. It's something that I won't be picking up just purely because of money. Like if I had unlimited money, sure. Like I'd rock it. I've got plenty of shoes like this one. Got the up there all gray. Like that's reflective. That's shiny. I love that one. So it's something that I would definitely buy, but just monetary. I can't bring myself to it. Got so many other things I want to get. So last one for any upcoming releases, we will have the Saucony Pro Grid Omni 9 in this incredibly vibrant, I don't know, green and gold, I'm going to call it. Green, gold, and red colorway is what I'm going to call it. The Pro Grid Omni 9 obviously had a moment right now. It's kind of Saucony's shoe of choice, kind of like New Balance with the 1906. They had the collaboration recently with J-Tips, which we will get into in a second. They also had one earlier in the year with End Clothing, with it was based around the Loch Ness Monster. So this is brought to us by Star Cow, which is a Parisian boutique, which also had the 991 V2 from that whole world pack. They had the green colorway. Australia got the yellow colorway. Now, I know that you are a huge Saucony fan, so give me your thoughts about this colorway, about this release, whether or not you're going to buy one pair or two pairs or three pairs. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, it's vibrant, right? It's bright.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's another like that futuristic kind of feel and stuff. Because I'm so old school, man. Like a lot of my Sauconys are all like you're very much like heritage runners from 2003 and 2013 and all
Mm-hmm.
that sorts of stuff. That I don't mind them.
Yeah.
Whether or not I'll go for them, I probably won't. Save my money for something else.
Yeah.
But I do like where they're going with it. And the Omni 9s are very comfortable as well as a shoe.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's I think out of Saucony is literally a running brand. Like they're meant for comfort.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's their bread and butter, and I love that they're putting a little bit more thought into these collaborations and letting people go wild with it. Like it's got so many panels. It's obviously got mesh. It's got some leathers and suedes, but they're just letting these materials go wild and kind of letting people bring their own perspective to this. And
Yeah.
I just love that. There's a photo I've got on screen now of them on the tree, and they're just shining in that like evening light, and it just looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the photo too, just from a purely. How many of us have bought a shoe simply because of the photo?
Yeah.
Like the lighting and everything, it looks great, and we can get a little bit of fool's gold sometimes where we buy a shoe just because of how it looks on the photo, and then we get it in hand and we're like, oh, it looks a little bit different. I'm sure you've done that before, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for these. If they release, I'm definitely going to get a pair in Australia. If not, I might even get them resale. So I'm definitely excited about these ones.
Yeah.
So that kind of moves me into the kind of main section of our little podcast here. Is just wanted to talk to you about your A, love for sneakers, B, your journey with them, and C, just let you showcase some of the more unique, cool, vibrant sneakers that you have, or whatever you kind of want to share with us. So gonna let you go for it.
Yeah, sure, man. Like I've kind of like described my journey in a number of pods before, and it's basically just started with Reebok, really. So when I first came to Australia, my uncle who worked for a distribution center just here in New South Wales, and it was the Reebok distribution center. So we were getting a lot of like hand-me-downs and stuff that he'd bring home and give us, and that's what I was rocking. I was just rocking like Reebok. So for me, it started with that. However, I've always wanted to get like my first, Nike shoe, right?
Yeah.
And coming from and migrating here to Australia and knowing what mum and dad had to do, so on and so forth. Money wasn't like, we didn't have disposable income, and it wasn't like, hey, mum, dad, can you get me some Nikes, please? So on and so forth, right? So for me, it wasn't until like maybe 1995 when I kind of saved up all my money and bought my first real Nike basketball performance shoe, right? And it was the penny ones. So this shoe kind of started it all off for me. So this is the re-release from a couple of years ago. And so that my journey started from there. And I kind of really waited, and I wanted to have this like sneaker collection just because I was always into it, and that just stemmed from being a fan of basketball in the 90s, seeing your favorite players and listening to hip hop and R&B and watching whatever that you see on the TV, and you kind of associate the shoe with that, and so on and so forth, right? So for me, it really started maybe a few years down the track. I started my collection in 2012, man. Like I definitely wanted to, I saved up some money knowing that one day I'm gonna start this collection. But I wanted to travel, I wanted to get married, buy a house, start a family, all that sorts of stuff. And 2012, end of 2012 came, and and it was just like, let's open the floodgates and let's just start doing research, start figuring out where I can get all of these shoes, because I was always just fascinated with like, I'm hearing that something's coming out, but by the time it's out, it's like it's all gone. So I need to just like really educate myself in the scene and whatnot. And back then I didn't really know anybody in the sneaker groups or anything like that. It was basically just me and doing my own research. And and my cousin introduced me to a few people and stuff, and that's when I kind of fell into the whole TKS, the kickstand kind of Facebook group.
Yeah.
And then from there, kind of met people in real life, and then kind of branched out and kind of like started networking with them, and getting to know them. And then it kind of just led to what it is now, really. So yeah, as you can see behind me, it's just a collection, and it just starts. It started off from a whole heap of just heritage runners, man. Like it's just those styles of shoes, and then to all of the Jordans and Nikes, and and now just curating it. I need to cull it because there's way too many now, and just a whole different, like, heaps of brands. Hey, so I've got in the collection, I got Asics, Saucony, New Balance, bunch of Reeboks that I love. Obviously Nike and Jordan. We got some Pumas as well, my Puma suedes. I've got a bunch of the staple collabs that Puma did with the suede. What else do I have? I've got some like Kahu, or one or two. Like, I honestly just love shoes, like sneakers in general. It just speaks to me in a different way, and I just love seeing, what's going on out there and stuff. And there's not much of a grail list for me in a sense. But it's more just I'll pick up what I like and wear what I like. But yeah, the past few years, like some of the releases that come up with, your packaging and the story behind it, I love all that stuff. And getting onto the Sneakerheads Australia group on Facebook and meeting a whole bunch of people like Sammy and like Donald and Julian and all those guys, who pretty much speak the same language, right? Like we've got the same kind of interest, and we're just nonstop, just like baiting each other to buy shoes so that we don't feel bad that we've bought another pair. It's so bad. But yeah, like that's pretty much where the journey started. Hey, like 1995, definitely with the penny ones, kind of started off that, one day I wanna really grab and get as many sneakers as I possibly can. And after the pennies, it was always like I want my BC3s, I want my Jordan BC3s, and try to get those, which I already have now, which is awesome, like in the collection. But then you kind of, I started off trying to get all of the Nikes and the Kobe's and the Jordans that I couldn't get when I was a kid. So now I'm like, I got to get rid of those, give it to my cousin's kids, and start grabbing all of my like old school runners that I used to love. And that's when, 2013 or 2012, 2013, when like Asics had just a 25th anniversary, right, with that Gel Light 3s. Then after that, it was the Gel Light 5s. Then after that, it was like Saucony was like going crazy with all of the collaborations they were doing. And then in 2015, Reebok did, in 2015, Reebok did their anniversary for their ventilator, right? So there were all collaborations left, right, and center. And one of my favorite collabs in the 2015 was the Kendrick Lamar one, right? So the Kendrick Lamar ventilator. So it's just a whole, like, it's just all tan, beautiful. And this one has red, and the other shoe has blue. And it's to do with just like all this thing about harmony and stuff with all the gangs and stuff over in the States.
Like the Crips and the Bloods in LA, where Kendrick's from. Yeah, I get that. That's
and I love like
that's nice.
I think it's a bit biased for me to say this, but I loved his collabs with Reebok than I did with what he did with Nike. I think all the collabs that he did with Reebok were really, really nice. Just because it just appealed to me a little bit more. Of course, the brand has a special place in my heart. But yeah, like it's just that at the moment. It's just, I'm trying to wear as many pairs as I can. And I was telling you in our chat, like I'll bring a pair of shoes to work and then change at the end of the day and try and like find a place to take a photo and stuff. Because of my work, and can't really wear my sneakers as much as I possibly can. The reason why I wanted to try and do the whole Saucony for September kind of thing was just because one of the guys, like Sammy from Sneakerheads, he was just like, "Oh, I don't have a Saucony. I wonder what pair to buy first." And I was just like, "Okay, I'm just
how about this one?"
I'm just keep pumping the feed, like just keep uploading and with what I have. So yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell, really,
Yeah.
of my story. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that I haven't worn yet and will wear.
Hmm.
There's a few things that I probably won't touch or won't wear or unds and give it to my son when he gets to my shoe size.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it's
Nice.
it's fun. Love it, man. Like I just love talking about it.
Hmm.
Um, I love talking to my students about it as well because it's another vehicle for connection with my kids. Um, and they keep track of the sneakers I wear. So yeah, they're always asking me questions about all that stuff. So it's
Hmm.
good passing knowledge here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Nice. I think that, yeah, whatever way, obviously you're doing year 11, year 12 kids, any way to connect with kids at that age is good because, some people, some kids don't have positive role models in their
mm,
life. So I think even if you're trying to connect with them and something as what might seem as trivial as what shoes you're wearing, any sort of positive impact is definitely good, and I would, yeah, definitely encourage that. I mean, I follow AD Sneaks on Instagram. He's like a teacher as well. Obviously in
yeah,
America they have different rules, so he posts like his entire weekly rotation, and it's always like,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna wear the Dunkeritos, I'm gonna wear, like, I'm gonna unds this $10,000 pair of shoes, and I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, he probably got them for free, because he's
yeah,
like a
absolutely.
photographer. But like, I always get jealous of like people who can kind of just wear any shoe at any time. Where like, I don't want to get some of my shoes dirty when I wear them at work. So, try and shy away from some of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, even at work, it's definitely awesome to, for people to chat, and a lot of times if I see someone who I'm like, oh, I know that, like, I know, like, it kind of opens up a layer of communication, which is really good.
Mm,
um, I think that's like what you do with any hobby is like you try and talk about your hobby and try to connect with people about that. And I think that's really awesome. So,
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
good on you for trying to connect with your students about that. And did you have any like special pairs that you were just wanted to showcase and just kind of give us a
Yeah,
sneak
man.
preview of?
Yeah, I remember you wanting to see
Mm-hmm.
the Year of the Dragon a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
The Grid Shadow too.
It's very
This is
nice.
a great pair. It was one of the sleeper pairs. Like
Yeah,
everybody was going for the Jordan ones, and this was the one pair that was just like, I'm waiting for this. I'm not. Yeah,
yeah.
this is the one pair that I want for Year of the
Mm-hmm.
Dragon.
Yeah,
Just the details on it, it's just sick.
yeah.
Like the embroidery on it and stuff. And again, comfort, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm getting old now, so my knees can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
So can't do that. But another pair that I kind of like really love that's in my collection is a collaboration with I believe it's an American label called Commonwealth. And back in
yeah.
2015, they opened up a store in Manila.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they released an Asics for the Cultura. This is called the Cultura. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's just a cream pair with the mesh suede
Yeah.
navy blue hits, but it's also got
Nice.
the tribal print
Yeah.
of one of the tribes in the Philippines,
Yeah.
one of the very ancient tribes over there.
Oh,
So I was very happy to get this, and obviously not at resale. I was very happy
that's
that I was
cool.
able to get it online for, for retail. And when I pop these on, there's always somebody who's going to come up and ask me about them because they've never
Yeah.
seen them before, right? And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that you don't necessarily see. But it's just a great pair, and that's one of the pairs that I usually have. It's funny because when I ask mates like, which pair out of the collection would you kind of use to describe who I am in a sense, and it's always just like the Kendrick ventilator
Yeah.
or this one, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
they just kind of associate me with those two pairs of shoes because they don't see it anywhere else. But those are two special ones. There are some other ones there, but those ones, man, they're just up there all the
That's
time.
it. That's all you
Yeah,
really need. And for any listeners who don't know, Emmanuel's from Philippines, so Manila is the capital of the Philippines, and having that connection, and I kind of have a connection with that as my wife is Filipino, so really kind of enjoy that connection to your home. And sometimes, a lot of times, sneakers might not be the most expensive sneakers, but they mean a lot more to you. Like, I feel like there's more sentimentality weighs a lot more on my love for sneakers than, oh, it cost $10,000. It was limited to 100 pairs. Like,
Yeah.
if it doesn't look good or it has no meaning to me, like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
I care more about, yeah, the way that it connects with your story, I suppose, is the best way to
Mhm.
describe it. So thank you so much to Emmanuel Guevarra. Shout out to everyone in the Sneakerheads Australia Facebook group. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We're going to be posting a few more sneaker reviews as we kind of wind down to the end of the year. Looking forward to any more sneaker releases. Let me know down in the comments. What did you like about the October releases that are coming up? Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. We're really close to 200 subscribers, which is our goal by the end of the year. So I just want to thank you again, Emmanuel, for coming on. It really means a lot. Thank you so much to everyone watching. If you want to say any last final words.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for having me on. It's a privilege, and keep doing what you're doing, man. I know what it's like to keep all this going. But yeah, it's fun. It's always fun to talk shop about sneakers with like-minded people. So I really appreciate you asking me to hop on, and
No
hopefully
worries.
I've done you justice, man.
No worries. That's all. No, it's been great. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched. And again, yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.